rebuilding when you're average to below average. Our record says we're below average. The point differential that the team had this year using Pythagorean theorem says we're a 46-win team. You know, that may be a better measure as you're starting to look forward. So the quality of the team isn't indicative of your ability to close games. It's a zero-sum game. So multi-season, when you play a bunch of close games, more than likely you're going to add that up and it's going to be zero. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. A better indicator of a championship caliber team, which clearly we're not. We're playoff competitive, we just missed. But a championship competitive team is your ability to blow out teams and not play those close games. And obviously the greatest example of that right now is the Golden State Warriors, and all of us aspire to be that. And you have to have some unique talent that develops and takes its lumps. But so Quin, the coaches, top thing on their board this offseason, and it really started with our conversations with the players, going through open gym to training camp to literally an everyday process of sideline out of bounds, baseline out of bounds, up to down to what we call 2-minute games, so things that happen, we worked on. And while we probably, from a record standpoint, can't show tangible statistical growth, the eye test on what we saw, there was progression, but certainly it's something that we have to 100% own and get better at to move our group forward. And I was with a coach in Houston, and Rudy Tomjanovich, that was quite unique in his mindset towards close games and elimination games and pressure games. And Quin has had very similar thoughts. You know, I know internally we're talking about, thinking about, and working on those issues. And frankly, I'm very confident that we'll resolve those. But hopefully that we'll resolve them, that we'll play, we'll be on the right side of the ledger and blow out games, to answer your question.
Dennis alluded to a few of the things that we've tried to do to work on those situations. You know, literally going through. You mentioned the 2-minute drills. We have a thing we call special teams, where we're literally trying to script out situations that we'll find ourselves in, and we're doing that primarily to try to generate experience or generate experience. That said, you know, we'll continue to do that. I feel like we're trying to hold ourselves to a high bar in a practice setting. You know, ultimately having to go through, you know, those situations in a game, that's how you do gain the experience. And as Dennis said, we'll go back, you know, we'll go back and look at every game and see where we can be better. The one area where I feel like there can be a marked improvement is on the defensive end. If you look at, you know, where we were defensively during the course of the game, and what happened to us defensively late in the game, we weren't very good, is what it comes down to. And so, you know, how do you adjust that? How do you correct that? I think the way the game is played at the end of the game is different. It's a lot more physical. We're a team that has to learn how to adjust to that. There's screens that sometimes aren't legal in the first quarter that become more legal in the fourth quarter. It's a little bit, we've talked about like a nickel defense, things that hopefully can help our players understand that the game has shifted, that there's a point in the game where it is unique, and for us to raise our concentration, our physicality, and our competitiveness to respond to that. And I don't think we're able to do that, certainly on the level that we liked, and as a result, the results, you know, reflect that. So it is something that we're aware of. You know, as a coach, you know, in spite of whatever, you know, you say and how you analyze it, that's something you can't help but internalize as a coach. That's where it goes. So I'm certain that we'll continue. It was a big emphasis last year, actually. We've got to be able to close games better on both ends of the floor. I think Dennis does make a good point. I felt like, regarding the blowouts, I felt like there were a lot of times, our team didn't get blown out much either. So there were some games around however we measure, what is a close game, what's not. I think there were some times that we really hung in there and the game became close, although it wasn't as close as maybe the score indicated at that time. There were other games that were last possession games. And the biggest thing I saw, I think we got good shots. We had a lot of clean looks. The Dallas game is an example. I'd like to think with more experience, we'll be more comfortable in those situations. But the biggest thing, if you look, and again, we'll look at all of them and try to process it and analyze it to be better. That's really all we can do. But one of the biggest things, we didn't defensive rebound down the stretch. And anytime you give a team multiple opportunities, it's going to get you. And the other thing is there was a number of times we didn't shoot free throws well. So, I'd have to look at the numbers, but our free throw percentage during the course of the game, there were some times where it was significantly below what it was. And I hope those things will even out as we get more comfortable. We'll get more defensive rebounds. We'll raise our focus and our concentration to the level of the game. And we'll be more efficient offensively, whether it's free throws or late game situations. That said, obviously it's something I can assure you that we're really working on and trying to work on it almost in the way that a football team would work on it, like in a 2-minute drill situation. I think that's the most effective way to approach it. Dennis referenced that with 2-minute games. You have to create those situations. And unfortunately, a lot of them were created this year, not in practice, but in the game, and we didn't finish as many of them as we wanted.